Rossoneri, this is AC Milan Talk. We are ready for a new weekly episode focusing on the going song of our favorite team both on and off the pitch. Welcome to Adriano Del Monte. Hi Adriano.
Hello Licia, nice to see you as always.
And welcome also to Sheridan Bird. Hi Sheridan.
Hi Licia, hi Adriano, great to be here.
I think we have a lot to talk about, so let's start with our men's first team. A new European night, it's a difficult one to take, and we have to say that nothing is already done. It's all to play for, but now we have to think that anything is possible. Adriano.
Anything is possible. I like the way that you start that there, Licia. I was there pitchside at the Parc des Princes, a wonderful stadium in European football against obviously a top club in Paris Saint-Germain. Of course, the result didn't go our way. But, and I want to start on this note, as you can see from the standings there, PSG lead with 6 points, Milan 2. But Borussia Dortmund's win at Newcastle Sheridan for me was very important in terms of qualification for Milan here. Now, 2 points, of course, no goals to this point, no wins. But there have been so many positives, I feel, to take from the opening 3 match days. Obviously, that result at Paris, not the ideal outcome. But for me, the start of the match, 20-25 minutes in, there was a lot of competitiveness, there were some opportunities. So I do take some positives away, but overall, as the group stands at the halfway mark, still alive.
Yeah, it's only 50% of the group through 3 matches, and there's plenty of time to go. When Kylian Mbappe is in that kind of mood, I don't think anyone can stop him, let's be honest. And there were chances, as you said, Adriano. This is a good chance for Giroud, or a difficult chance for Giroud, made by Pulisic. Of course, it was Mike Maignan excellent pass. This is the second goal. The marking not great on Kolo Munai there, but it wasn't a great defensive performance from Milan, and it just happened to be a night in which the Parisians clicked and everything went well for them. There were some good moments. There's another great save by Mike Maignan. We have to give credit to Magic Mike for that, because the scoreline could have been vastly different, and this is the final goal which really put it to bed. But, you know, we can't hide from the result, we can't hide from the table, but, you know, there are some things to be positive about. There was one particular substitution that I know impressed both of us that Mr. Pioli made.
Absolutely. Adley has been a player that we've been keeping a close eye on. Obviously, probably last season didn't go the way he would have hoped, but there have been a lot of positive signs. We know there are still some players to come back into the squad as well. And we saw in the highlights there was that chance, the link up between Pulisic and Giroud didn't go in, but they're those half chances which at a club like Paris Saint-Germain, you do need to take those chances, and if that becomes 1-1, all of a sudden it's game on again. But we look ahead now, of course, because match day 4, look, I can't wait for this one already. This is what Champions League football is all about. But PSG, I spoke to a lot of fans there last night. They are so excited about their trip to San Siro and to just immerse themselves in the atmosphere that stadium provides. But match day 4, this is huge. This is absolutely huge. And look, the points are needed. A result is certainly needed here. Dortmund and Newcastle, we'll get to that match day 5 and 6, but certainly an improved performance is required on match day 4.
Of course. But to continue our analysis of what happened in the night against Paris Saint-Germain, I would like to focus on Pioli's thoughts in his post-match. So let's listen to his interview after the game against Paris Saint-Germain.
Credo che sia abbastanza facile da analizzare la partita, nel senso che fino al 53esimo, fino al minuto dove abbiamo preso il secondo gol, la partita l'abbiamo fatta tutta in tutti i modi che volevamo farla, con energia, con pressione, con intensità. Abbiamo commesso un errore e loro ci hanno punito per la qualità di un grande campione, con l'unico tiro in porta che hanno fatto, credo, nel primo tempo. È certo che noi, insomma, il fatto di non riuscire a segnare, il fatto di non riuscire a concretizzare, abbiamo avuto subito un'occasione appena all'inizio del secondo tempo che poteva riportarci in parità, quindi darci ancora più fiducia, ancora più convinzione. D'altra parte invece lo subisci, dopo è chiaro che è diventato molto più difficile, ma comunque abbiamo avuto un calo immediato, ma poi ci siamo ripresi e poi dopo chiaramente lasciando ampi spazi a avversari così veloci, così qualitativi, dopo siamo andati un po' più in difficoltà. Dobbiamo portarci la consapevolezza che se giochiamo in un certo modo e ci aggiungiamo un pochettino di qualità tecnica, possiamo essere a livello anche di una grandissima squadra come il PSG e lo siamo stati. Prima mi è stato chiesto se il confronto con la partita col Chelsea di qualche anno fa. Col Chelsea non avevamo dimostrato di essere una squadra di quel livello lì. Il Chelsea ci aveva messo sotto in tutto per tutto. Oggi è stata una partita dove le due squadre hanno provato a far male l'avversario con gli stessi atteggiamenti, con la stessa energia, con la stessa pressione, con la stessa intensità. Loro hanno avuto una qualità tecnica superiore nelle situazioni dove poi dopo ci hanno punito, e noi ne abbiamo avute altre situazioni dove potevamo, col passaggio finale, col tiro, con l'ultima situazione migliore, creare l'occasione da gol, ma non ci siamo riusciti. Questa è la differenza tra noi e loro. Bisogna crederci assolutamente, è il risultato che speravo onestamente, che il Newcastle non vincesse, però è chiaro che adesso non possiamo più sperare negli altri, ma dobbiamo essere noi a fare qualcosa in più, a fare meglio e a battere in casa il PSG.
Stefano Pioli, with this one, reached the 200 matches in rossonero with AC Milan. Unfortunately, he couldn't celebrate this game in the best way. But any comments about his words?
I think we all agree with what he said, that Milan made chances and competed with PSG, but then there was a mistake, and mistakes at the top level you will always get punished for. That's one of the great things and painful things about the Champions League, is that if you do make any error, someone is there to snap it up and make you cry. And it just happened. I mean, it's worth mentioning, Mr. Pioli didn't say it because he doesn't like to make excuses, but without Ruben Loftus-Cheek as well, the midfield loses a great presence. Someone with lots of experience and physically a very imposing midfielder. So there were some mitigating circumstances.
Absolutely, and of course, congratulations to Mr. Pioli for 200 games. That's a remarkable achievement at this club. But as for his words, look, for me, I think, and look, you can see the numbers there, wonderful. I think for me, it shows that there is room for improvement, and Mr. Pioli is aware of that. He mentioned, obviously, that 53 minutes that he labelled that the Milan were in it. Obviously, the Mbappe goal midway through the first half was the difference there with that shot on target. But in the end, it means there is still that room to improve, and the return of Loftus-Cheek, which hopefully sooner rather than later will certainly help that. But obviously with a quick turnaround now, obviously set out the weekend and then PSG to come to this city in a fortnight. The pressure is on because he is right. The proof was there. They can match Paris Saint-Germain. They proved that. But again, it's the frustration, I think, overall of the first 3 match days, just not converting those chances in the attacking third is why currently 2 points in bottom of the table. But as I said, still alive, all to play from the Champions League.
What do you think is the main thought with our rossoneri get back home, looking also to the next feature, European fixtures, again against Paris Saint-Germain, but in San Siro?
I think what Mr. Pioli and his squad need to do is remember that PSG, they fell apart at St James's Park against Newcastle, and that's an intimidating stadium. I've been to St James's Park. San Siro is another level, without wanting to upset Newcastle fans. But, you know, San Siro on a big European night is an intimidating place. PSG is full of professionals, you know, seasoned stars who have won big trophies. But if the fans can do what they always do and get behind Milan and make it an intimidating atmosphere, and if Milan can score early, need to score in the Champions League. Again, we can't hide the fact they haven't scored this season in the Champions League. If someone can find the net and then make things nerve-wracking for the Parisians, it could be a night to remember. That's what we hope for.
Absolutely. I think that is a very valid point. Newcastle, with respect, beat Paris Saint-Germain convincingly. It was their first Champions League match at home for, what, 2 decades?
Yeah.
The fans were ready. The fans played their part. From other broadcasters that I heard that were present to that match, they said the atmosphere was unlike anything they had heard before, and maybe it was enough to rattle Paris Saint-Germain despite the quality. So I think it is a real message to the fans, those that are attending this match. This has to be a cauldron. They have to be the 12th man. They have to be that 12th player. And if they can play their part, Milan can hopefully score early in the game. That can ultimately be the difference. Of course, Dortmund this time host Newcastle, and obviously there'll be another result there which will change the group in its entirety. But in the end, I think, look, Mr. Pioli and this Milan team, with the support of the fans, the target has to be 3 points.
Well, after the 90 minutes on the pitch, Milan TV cameras capture also the post-match reactions from Pierre Kalulu, so let's listen to his words together.
Sì, è vero che dentro questo tipo di partite sono sempre episodi che fanno le differenze, che dentro le partite sono sempre le dinamiche. Poi è vero che si mette questo gol cambia tutto, ma poi sappiamo mai, non è successo e poi abbiamo pagato i nostri errori di inattenzione. Poi è vero che loro erano anche una squadra molto forte che hanno provato e hanno successo di più dentro le loro occasioni. Dobbiamo credere perché anche l'anno scorso, anche gli ultimi anni in Champions, sappiamo che si gioca, manca ancora 3 partite, 9 punti per tutti e se hai 9 punti di più cambia assolutamente tutto. Poi certo che dobbiamo vincere le ultime partite anche a casa che è partita differente.
Any comments?
I do have comments. I'm a big numbers man. I'm a big numbers man. I like my numbers, and I've talked about the permutations already. I'm not looking too far ahead. I think the Paris Saint-Germain match needs to be won. But as Kalulu says there, obviously there are still 9 points up for grabs. You do the maths, Sheridan. 9 plus 2 will take you to 11 points. Very likely will be enough to get through. But one other interesting element of the group is the 2 0-0 draws on match day 1 and 2 against Newcastle and Dortmund. Let's not forget, it comes down to head-to-head. So towards the latter stages in the group, if teams are level on points, the head-to-head battle will be the difference. So those 2 scoreless draws are not a bad outcome. Go there, host Dortmund, go to Newcastle, get the win, and that's an extra point on top of that. So look, I still have a lot of belief in this group. I've covered all of the matches so far, pitch side. I've seen the club up close. I've seen the plays. The hunger is there. The desire is there. When that first goal comes, I think that maybe the pressure will be released a little more, and they do have the belief that they can continue and hopefully do what they did last season.
Yeah, I confirm that when it comes to maths, numbers aren't my thing. So it's a good job I've got Adriano next to me, because with numbers I struggle. But I know that 3 times 3 is 9, as you say. So Milan can still get 11 points.
But the point is, I think there's certainly been enough in the first 3 match days to suggest that if and when those goals do come, hopefully sooner rather than later, that they have matched all 3 teams. Even Paris Saint-Germain, the 3-0, okay, it's a 3-0. But again, it very, very easily could have been a very different scoreline. But you've got to take those chances. So I think the quality has been there. Let's hope the finishing is there come match day 4.
After the Champions League fixture, it's time to get back to Serie A after a not easy night on last Sunday. A very tough match, a big match in every sense against Juventus.
Tough. Obviously, the result also didn't go our way, Sharon. It's been a tough few days, but again, it was a tough match. Playing in 10 for, what was it, over a half, against a team who, well, again, I was there at this one. Juventus, with respect, weren't really threatening the goal for large parts of the match. It was a solitary goal in the end by Manuel Locatelli that was the difference. Milan remain in second place. Obviously a disappointing result, but very, very tough when in 10 for large parts of the match, Sheridan.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the damage was done last week when you chose a Locatelli goal against Juventus, and it was destiny that he would score against the Rossoneri. Of course
7
not.
years to the day it was.
Of course not, I'm joking. And it was just one of those matches in which the red card for Malik Chow was unfortunate. It's a learning process. People forget, we don't, but people forget Malik Chow is very young and he's not been playing at this top level for very long. And just like against PSG, Milan had chances against Juventus. I believe this is the red card coming up, and unfortunately there was no choice for the referee. Mozekin, or Mozeken, as we say sometimes here in Italy, just had too much speed. And Tomori was trying to say that it wasn't the goal-scoring opportunity I could have covered, but the referee didn't have it. And this is Locatelli's deflected goal. Luck not smiling upon Milan for that goal. And it's been a difficult week. There's no way of denying it. It wasn't a great result. Missing Theo, of course, and Mike Maignan. It just was one to try and forget and move on.
disappointing outcome, but the beauty of football and the beauty of the period that we're currently in, a few days and a massive opportunity to turn things around and get back on the winners list against another famous opponent. So look, the football doesn't stop. The result was disappointing, but again, we saw early in the package there the Giroud chance, great save by Szczesny. That goes the other side. All of a sudden, it's a different game. So, look, it's a period that takes me back maybe to the start of the calendar year, Sheridan, where the results weren't necessarily going the way of the team. Of course, this was last season. And they came out of it much better for it in a very interesting period where there was knockout stages of the Champions League, some big Serie A fixtures and more. So, look, you have these moments, you have the ups, you have the downs in football. I know I'm always quite positive and quite optimistic, but because the signs are there. The finishing comes, we'll see the results and the points start to total very, very quickly. And of course, this weekend, this is huge. Away to Napoli Sunday. This is a big match and an opponent that, of course, Milan have played on many occasions last season, particularly.
So we have to consider that we are in the middle of a very busy week on Sunday night against Napoli. What we should expect from the match against Rudy Garcia's side?
It's a challenging week, but it's a good chance to get back on winning ways. Napoli themselves had a difficult spell, but they seem to have got back on an even keel. They won in Europe, in Berlin, so they'll be a tough opponent. They've got one or two players missing, so they might not be at full strength, but Mr. Pioli just needs to get his troops ready for what will be a battle, what will be a tough match. But it's a great launching pad. I mean, if it were a game that were perhaps less glamorous, there might be not trouble motivating, but it might seem like less of an opportunity to restart. But playing away to the champions of Italy, it's a really good chance to show that Milan are back, and what happened against Juventus and what happened in the Champions League was just a slip.
No, I agree. I like the fact of playing a tough opponent at a time like this. It provides an opportunity to go in fully motivated in a tough atmosphere in a great stadium. So, good opportunity. Of course, Osimhen not fit for Napoli, and the two teams got to know each other very well last season, Licha. Of course, there was that period of 10 days where there were 3 fixtures, the quarterfinals of the Champions League and the Serie A meeting. And it was this fixture last season. Remember what happened. It was a 4-0 win, one of the performances of the season. So, look, I think the players and Mr. Pioli will take great confidence because this particular performance was as good as we saw for the entirety of last season. Again, another match I was very fortunate to be at. And Rafael Leao with an absolute masterclass here. I think he finished with 2 on the night. And it was incredible. This period, playing one team 3 times in those couple of weeks, it was special. And, well, it was a Leao masterclass, as I said. Of course, Brahim Diaz there as well, who no longer. But, look, it was a great performance, and I think the core of this group will take confidence going down south.
Yeah, there were some great goals in that match, and it was a really good scalp to take. And I don't think Mr. Pioli and his team will fear going down to the San Paolo or the Diego Armando Maradona after the exploits of last season. I mean, yeah, there was a great cross from Benacer, who will be back soon, hopefully. That's a really good goal that really made mincemeat of the Napoli rearguard. So, I think Milan have got everything they need mentally, and they've also got the hunger to bounce back from a disappointing week to make something happen in the Bay of Naples.
And Napoli, their form, you mentioned, has been indifferent. They have started to strengthen. You do sense that Napoli are starting to rediscover some of their form that we saw last season, but their form at the Maradona hasn't quite been what you would have expected. In fact, this win here for Milan was one of only 2 wins for opposing teams at the Maradona. What a goal there.
Yeah, that was incredible.
This really was one of the performances of the season, but again, it was a rare occasion that Napoli were defeated on their home turf. Now, this season already 3 defeats at the Maradona. So their confidence at home, obviously that's Champions League and Serie A. Maybe we'll do that.
Yeah.
Sheridan, if they can win this weekend, that we'll pull out that celebration. But look, it's a Milan team that deservedly go there full of confidence off the back of this stunning performance. And we did promise 4 great goals, and all 4 there, Licha. Very, very good indeed.
Yeah.
Are you going to travel to Naples, Sheridan?
I won't. I'll be working because there are other teams in the Milan family, which we'll be speaking about very soon, clearly are playing. So I'll be covering the Rossoneri other teams in the Rossoneri group, but it will be a fascinating fixture, and hopefully Milan can show what they're made of.
So that's all for our men's first team. Pioli's side are preparing very well the match on Sunday for the next Serie A weekend. Now let's move on with our women's team. Gance's team, Gance's side just experienced maybe the biggest win of this season so far against Pomigliano. What a great result.
Yes, it was. It was a match which did embody some of the struggles the team have had. However, it was decided by some magic dust by Milan's resident sorceress, resident magician, Kosovare Aslani, who was back in the team after a phase out of the starting 11, and she showed her quality. I hope you guys are looking forward to seeing what she did, because it was really impressive, and it just showed Milan what they've missed a bit while she hasn't been available, because many years ago they used to say that Kaká played in a smoking, which is Italian for dinner jacket or tuxedo, if you prefer. Well, Aslani, when she is on form, plays in the same way. That's Mr. Gans celebrating. That's the first goal from Kosovare Aslani. A really good glancing header. Watch this. No one was marking her really well.
It's a fine finish.
It's a really good goal. She's not known for her aerial play, but now watch the link up. Coming up for this goal, Christy Grimshaw and Aslani linking up. Back to Staskova, who scored her first goal for the Rossoneri since joining, and it was just a really good move. These are clearly the highlights, the goals, but all throughout the match, particularly Kosovare Aslani, just had that extra bit of class that Pomigliano couldn't handle. The music was loud, everyone was happy, the sun was shining. And there was a goal for the team from Campania. They do sometimes make it a bit complicated for themselves, the Rossoneri. The defence, I think, switched off a bit towards the end, which is inevitable. It can happen. But I really think the real positive was the first goal by Staskova and the all-round link-up play from Aslani.
You did say it would be a tricky test against Pomigliano, but to come through and obviously concede but then put another two away. The attacking play is very important. Obviously, there was some change in the off-season for the Milan team here, but Staskova, you mentioned getting her first goal since making the move to Milan, and Aslani in some good form as well. That has to be promising now going into this next stage of the season.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and there was a kind of curious, fun event coming up now, because this was a penalty won by Christy Grimshaw, and to decide who took it, whether it would be Aslani for her hat-trick or Christy, the players played scissors, paper, stone, which I believe in Italian is bim bum bam, I think is the name of the game. I'm not 100% sure, you didn't see it there, but Christy Grimshaw won, so she got to take the penalty.
They did that on the pitch.
They did that on the pitch.
There you go.
Christy took the penalty, she converted the penalty, so it was a good victory, but it perhaps wasn't as easy as it looked. But there were plenty of positives. There is Christy's penalty. Keeper went the wrong way, and the Scottish midfield dynamo did the rest. So you can see the joy, the happiness. It was a really good, much-needed positive result for the Milan family.
Our Rossoneri will face Fiorentina, which is living very good first part of this season. I would like to ask you a comment about the possible difficulties or tricks, Halloween term, about the match, what we should expect from them.
Well, it will be tricky because Fiorentina have got quality players. They've not quite challenged for trophies fully in recent years, but they've always been there or thereabouts. They're third at the moment, as you can see, behind Roma and Juventus. But I think Mr. Gans just has to tell his players, or ask his players, to keep up the good work that was started against Pomigliano, because that could be the beginning of the season. We know that they started playing, the first match was against Roma, the champions, then there was a match against Juventus, which is very tough. But now I think the season can be ignited by that victory against Pomigliano, and the best place to start that is in Tuscany against Fiorentina.
Really one of those direct head-to-heads for that top five battle. Of course, Cornwall currently in there, there was the 0-0 a couple of weeks ago, but Fiorentina, a very good team. Very, very good team, good depth. Former Milan player there, Vero Borken. the Spanish international, top player. So they've got experience, they've got class, they've got young players coming through, and a good test for Ganza's side after that 4-1 against Pomigliano.
So good luck to Maurizio Ganza's team. Let's move on to our under-19s. The Primavera's good result run came to an end at 10 matches. Something went wrong against Paris Saint-Germain. They created a lot. They had many occasions, especially in the first part of the two halves, but something went wrong.
It was a very tough match. PSG are a very good team, and it was... If you had said at the beginning of the season that Milan youth team wouldn't lose their first match until the end of October, people would say that's a sign of a great start to the season. And that's basically the situation. They've been really good as the season has kicked off, but they just met their match against PSG. It was an even match in the UEFA Youth League, but PSG scored a really good goal. When you two see it, I think you'd agree that it's a fantastic goal, leaving the goalkeeper, Andrea Bartaccioni, no chance. Quite an even match, but I just think on the day, PSG probably deserved the victory. We have to be honest, we have to be fair. Fair play, please. I think they deserved it, the French side, but it'll be interesting to note what happens when they come to the Puma House of Football. There was some good early forays by Milan, but the midfield for the French side particularly was impressive. They panicked a bit in defence, the Parisians, at the beginning, and Milan were just unable to put the ball in the back of the net. And sometimes you have days like that when the ball just says, no, I'm not going to go in. Kevin Zeroli involved. Kevin played really well. More of an attacking midfielder than central midfielder. And at the beginning, it did feel quite positive.
Tough conditions, though, Sheridan. I can tell you, yes.
Yeah.
Look, in the day of the game, it was quite heavy rain. The senior team played in very solid conditions, but the day of the game there was a lot of rain overnight before, so wouldn't have been easy. And Paris Saint-Germain, you mentioned, they are good at producing players. Even in the first team, they have some 17-year-olds playing. So this is one of the better academies going around.
Has to be respected.
Absolutely, and you see it with Dortmund as well, of course. Two of the better academies in European football. So it just shows where Abate's team have got to this
They've
season.
also got Kylian Mbappe's brother playing. This is the goal I'll just break off. And that was a special goal.
Wow.
It was a special goal. No chance for Bartaccioni.
Very nice.
And big celebrations. They also have Kylian Mbappe's brother, Etan Mbappe, who played well in midfield. Milan made a go of it in the second half when the sun came out. It seems like a completely different city.
It does look like a different day.
It does, but it was the same stadium. And Milan had their chances. Mr. Abate made some good substitutions. Filippo Scotti came on. And they almost equalised right at the end with a flamboyant scissor kick. That's Ugo Cuenca. He did very well. Kevin Zeroli normally scores those. Then the sun went back in, by the way, in case you're wondering. And this was a chance right at the end to equalise, and I thought it was in when I was commentating on it, but he just couldn't quite get hold of it, and it was stopped by the Parisian goalkeeper. So it was a good performance. First loss of the season. But chapeau, to use the French phrase, because they were playing in Paris.
Well played.
They did well to get to mid-October before losing a match, and the season still promises to be a fantastic one for Mr. Abate's youngsters.
This is about the Youth League, but talking about Primavera 1, after the goalless draw against Roma, it's time to face Sampdoria, which await us at the Vismar on Sunday.
It's the same situation as the men's senior team, to be quite honest. You have to bounce back. You have to archive recent results. It didn't go well last weekend in the league. It didn't go well in the UEFA Youth League, as we've just seen. But Milan are still top. Inter, though, are closing in, as you can see. But it's just to get back to winning ways. PSG were a very good team, and there aren't many teams like PSG in the Italian Primavera Championship. So, you know, I still think Milan have got a very good chance of being the dominant team. We hope they'll be the dominant team in the Primavera League in Italy this season.
Very similar to the men's team, and of course off the back of the 0-0 with Roma and that 1-0 at PSG. But we saw in the highlights there were plenty of chances created, and was the same in this match as well. So look, some solid performances without the results being there, but this is now really a test of character. Can they step up? Can they respond against a Sampdoria team who have started quite well this season with respect to where they're at as well. So look, there's no easy games at this level. Some of the top players, well, all of the top players in the country doing battle and obviously trying to progress with their respective careers. So this is going to be a nice opportunity, but expecting the response, because what we've seen from Abate's young men this season has been very impressive to date.
That's all for today. See you next week, guys. So thanks to Adriano Del Monte, thanks to Sheridan Bird.
Thank you very much, Licia. Sheridan, always a lot of fun.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Dear Rossoneri, thanks for following us. See you in the next episode of our AC Milan Talk. Ciao.